All right, I'm currently on the phone with Taxajermy. He's another musician that reached out about the current interview session. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hey everybody, I'm Taxajermy. Obviously my name is Jeremy, but with any luck they'll be taxing a Jeremy soon enough.
Awesome. So tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me when you first kind of came in contact with music. What about it kind of spoke to you and made you want to pursue it?
Basically when I was, I'm actually pretty old now. I'm like 48. It took me quite a while to find my own sound. Initially, I just had a lot of friends that were doing music. And then as I started doing music, I realized I was pretty good at writing songs, which is the reason that I got signed to the Swedish label last year, because I definitely kind of found my own highway. So, but anyways, I just started doing music at that point. I don't really do a lot of instruments, anything like that. My producer just puts everything together and then we just decide what flavor each song should be. So each song is different from the next. One will be Irish drinking, one will be Persian, one will be fast and hard about tweakers, one will be cringy about loving oneself. I mean, it's all over the place.
Nice, that's cool. So would you say you kind of focus more on writing lyrics and stuff, and then your producer comes through and puts the music to it?
Yeah, a lot of times I actually help by providing at least the pattern of which I'm singing it in and the parts of the song where it'll switch up. But at the same time, he adds so many more levels because he actually understands the way music works. So if I tell him I need swing and then I need death metal and then I need rap or bluegrass, I mean, he really delivers on all those things. So I do bring a lot of the pieces, but I kind of do it backwards. A lot of people, they actually get the music and then they write to it, whereas I do a lot of the writing in my head. And then when I put it to the music, I think that has a lot to do with the originality of it.
Sure, definitely. So tell me about how you kind of figured out that was something you liked to do. Were you a poet in school and this is what it became? How did it all start?
It all basically started with just all my friends doing music, and then I decided I was going to try writing a song, and then it came together really well, and everybody seemed super impressed with it. So then we built the first band, and I've been through 4 bands since then. And bands are great, but they're a lot harder. Like now that I'm doing it this way, it's never moved this fast for me, which it needs to, because I decided to climb Mount Everest when I was 48, butt naked. So basically, but that's how I got into it initially. All my friends were doing it, so I just started doing it, and then everybody kind of acted like I was doing it really good. And then I was always kind of the drivetrain with a band too, and that was always the problem, because if everybody ain't taking it serious, then it just doesn't move at the speed of which you would like.
Sure. And so would that be kind of the same story for the other bands that you were in? You were the front man driving it, writing the lyrics while they came up with the music kind of thing?
Absolutely. Except the difference is I would have to kind of accept whatever they could give me. So if I were to hum something to them, it would never be the same when they played it. But then it would be one of those, oh, you can sing it to it. And yeah, I can. But it was never quite what was in my head. Whereas now this guy takes what's in my head and just takes it to a whole new level. So it's been really cool. I mean, that's why we're in the middle of the second half of the album release in the next month and a half, 2 months, that we're releasing the last 5 songs of the second album. And hell, we've already built 4 on the next album, and the next album is going to be quite a bit weirder. It's going to be a little twisted.
So how long would you say you spent with each of those bands that you kind of struggled to actually get your ideas out?
Oh, years. I was known for kicking a horse even after it was dead. And don't get me wrong, I always got great reactions in the live bands. I mean, we'd be literally, signing autographs. And as a local band, I don't see that a whole lot myself. But yeah, I spent a lot of time doing it that way. And I was just really happy that I found this guy, because it's really been opening it up.
Sure. So I'm gonna harp on the other bands for just another question here. Tell me about when you kind of realized that those iterations weren't working and you needed to try to kind of recalculate or reconfigure the dynamic you were working with.
I really didn't the last band. There was a big falling out and all this stuff, and they kept it going, and I was out. And then I just kind of meandered around for a while. But I had actually ran into this guy with that band, and he was the one that recorded us. So when I went out there initially, I just asked him to record a song I had done, and he agreed to do it because normally he doesn't build everything for people. And then after that song, he seemed to be impressed enough that he let me squeeze the Irish Drinking song in. And then after the Irish Drinking song, he was kind of on board at that point. Now he's all about it. Like, he'll build it all for me, whereas normally that isn't something that he would sign up for. So I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, God sent him to me, man. I'm not sure.
All right, but it's a musician you met along the way, and you guys kind of realized you were good writing partners.
Well, he's more like a guy that runs a studio, and he's been doing music for years, and he's made money at it. He's done big tours in Europe and stuff with the bands he was in. So he had kind of a taste of the show, but not necessarily the whole taco, you know. So with any luck, I'm hoping he can get another run at it, and I can get my first run at it.
Sure. Well, on that note, so let's talk about the current project. Obviously, it's a very eclectic, genre bending project. But what is it, and kind of where do you kind of see yourself going with it?
Basically, they're all different from each other. Some will be serious, some will be funny. A lot of times in serious, I'll still put a little bit of funny. So basically, my whole goal is to make sure. First off, I don't want any filler songs. I don't want a song where people say, oh, that's sawdust. You know, I want to make sure every song is dope in its own way. And then on top of that, we're getting ready to hit 25. And I want to do like 100 songs in the next 3 to 4 years, which sounds crazy, but if I can start getting paid for this shit, it's totally possible. But I want to do 100 or more songs in the next 3 to 4 years. I want to make sure every one of them's dope in their own way. Then I'll do the 3 or 4 years of touring. Hopefully I'm already rich at that point, so I don't have to go eating McDonald's every day till it comes out my eyeballs. But honestly, bro, I kind of want to bring the bar of music back up, man. Hollywood, they can no longer be in charge of entertainment. This shit is disgusting. And literally everything's a remake. Everything is just, it's horrible as far as I'm concerned, which is the only reason I'm going to have a job. But at the same time, I put a lot of meaning in my lyrics. Like they've gotten away from all the lyrics and the song structuring, act as if it's no big deal. Whereas I could take the same hip hop beat, for example, and I could write a real song to it, and it's going to be better. Always. You know, but for some reason, the industry's trying to push everybody away. They don't want bands like the Rolling Stones and Aerosmith. They don't want bands that last for 100 years. And I'm with them. I'm too old to be doing this shit till I'm Willie Nelson age. I plan on burning hot and burning short, probably like 6-7 years, and I'm out.
So that kind of touches base on what the ambition is there. It sounds like, you know, you want to hit those 6 years. You want to have a nice career that kind of goes off like a firework. What would you see after that then? Let's say that everything happens according to that plan. What would you do after that?
After that, I would probably start my own damn record company and find talented people. But at the end of it all, I kind of want to be known as, you know, a really badass songwriter. I literally write songs about shit that nobody wants to touch. Like I just finished a song about deviled eggs that's actually dope. Like it's the only egg song I've ever heard that's like badass. It's so badass that people don't even realize some of the heinous shit I'm saying. But at the same time, I also just finished a bluegrass country song about inbreeding. And you can really write about anything, but it's all how you write about it. Like I write from multiple points of view. For example, I got a song about fishing that goes from the fisherman's point of view to the fish's point of view, and it twists it up in a way where I've literally had people argue with me that it's about fishing. They say it's about a fight between good and evil, and in reality, you know, of course I listened to my own lyrics. I wrote this shit when I was fishing.
Right. Awesome. So tell me about some of the moments that have happened to you through working with all of those bands and your current projects that have had an impact on you. What memories stand out to you?
I always liked the camaraderie of the bands. And I mean, we had some great moments where we'd have a place packed up well enough where it looked like some shit off a TV show. And I always liked meeting really cocky bands and then, feeding them rope while they tell me how dope they are. I'm just like, oh man, you must be a god. And then literally just tearing their fucking face off. But at the same time, I mean, there was a lot of moments where, there were highs to them, but they just never achieved the place I wanted to be. Like, as far as I'm concerned, if you actually come with your own sound, doing some shit nobody's ever heard and actually have meaning to it, I mean, you either go big, like Nirvana big, or you go home. That's kind of the way I look at it. And most people dig the shit out of it. And I got to imagine that if I can get 90 out of 100 or more loving it, then that's got to translate to 9,000 out of 10,000 and so on, all the way up the chain. So had a lot of great moments with it, but nothing like with the music itself. So in other words, with the bands, there was a lot of great moments, but the music was never there. So it just never was going to work out.
Sure. That's understandable. All right. Well, where can people find your current project and then check out your albums once you put them up?
It's pretty much everywhere you look for music online. I got really super professional videos on YouTube, but it's under Taxajermy. So if you just Google Taxajermy, which is Taxajermy, then it'll pretty much take you anywhere you listen to music.
Perfect. And I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So what's a message that you have that you want to share with people?
My message would be mostly overall just bringing music back to the standard that it should be. Like back in the day, if you couldn't perform or you couldn't do a lot of different things, you weren't famous. Nowadays, I don't know. I guess my message would be do better, pretty much. So old ass dudes like me don't have to take this shit over.